You're tuned into my favorite YouTube channel. This is Chillmonger, and the X-Men vote year 2022 has commenced. It has been 3 days, a short voting period for something that took longer the last time, if I do recall correctly. Perhaps I'm incorrect, and in the comment section you may indulge. I may indulge in a if you nix the mistake of mine. Now, you're probably wondering, I thought you did not care about the X-Men. I thought you called them the inconsequential X-Men. And that I did. And that I did, indeed. But, I mean, it's not. I'll drop the accent. Uh, it's not like you can't elevate characters during this inconsequential phase. It's not like you can't make a phone call with Feige and say, hey, Chief Creative Officer, are you going to use these guys in the movies? Yeah. Okay. Which ones are you using? Because we might as well just get a head start on giving you maybe some concept art for your movies in 3 years. It would be nice to see what they were doing in the comic books recently when you guys are planning your movie. Yeah. Okay. WizKid is one of them. And then there's Armor is another one. And then there's I can't remember all 10. Siren, I can't remember all 10, but the candidates who were there for the X-Men vote this year. This year that I noticed the candidates where the only returning one was Armor, and she was my vote from the last year. Why? Do we want her to win? Why didn't anyone else get to come back, right? What's the objective here? Gentle was also in it this year. They keep it where it's not just a white guy all the time, like the history of comic books. You guys know the history of comic books. When you look at the history of comic books, it's always white guys. It's just abundantly white men. Just crazy how. And now they have options that are not all white men. So they have a whole bunch of that. But I do feel like there is some sort of like incentivizing you to select somebody who isn't a white man. But I said the same thing the same time last year. Last year I was like, look, Sunspot and what's the other guy name? Sunspot and Cannonball. Those are the heavy hitters. But they may cancel votes out, and it'll probably go to Polaris. But I still got Suns. I remember I didn't choose, I guess, but I was more like, okay, those are the three ones that are gonna win, and that's who won this year. When you shorten the window, maybe it's like the time to vote for Polaris or whoever the Polaris candidate would be. The time helped. Like the longer the time went, the more like the classic X-Men people got votes. That's why it's shortened to only a 3-day window. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. That's what I think. That means I think that these votes are legitimate. It says powered by Question Pro like at the bottom, so it's like a third party that's handling these votes. So I don't, I'm not suspicious of the voting. I'm just more like skeptical of the tactics. We know Polaris won last year, didn't we? They never released the results. We don't know by how much. That would be great to know. That would make me an informed voter. Oh, that's how many people voted for that one? Cool. We need to get started on these campaigns. If we really want Gentle in there, or if we really want Hisako, Armor, Surge, Noriko, Ashido. Yeah, wait a minute. Isn't that guy's name? Isn't that CB Sobolski's name Akira Yoshida? Her name was Norika Yoshida, wasn't it? Well, something like that. The blue hair Surge from Academy X times. Yeah, if this is the only way to get your Academy X people inside these comic books. It's from the annual X-Men vote, and an annual vote is way too much, way too soon. An annual real life vote, because what I have to do is I got to look at 2021's winner Polaris, and I got to see, well, what did they do with her? Well, since this is Marvel Comics and they write for the trade, you can only do a 6-part issue, story. She's only been in 2 stories. That's 12 months, 2 stories. And you go, oh, it's not like watching what happened with Polaris getting yanked from the X Factor book, even though that ended. She gets put into the new X-Men comic, and you go, whoa, this vote matters. This vote really furthers this character. When I say matters, I say further the character. I find that the word matters in comic books. Like when we say X-Men matters, this book doesn't matter. Only Hickman matters. That's open to interpretation of what matters. So I have to kind of stop using matters. I'll say stuff like inconsequential X-Men. And then it does not further the Hickman Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. I got to be more specific because there's a whole bunch of fans in the comments who are going to say, Chillmonger, no, you're wrong. This was an essential. Okay, it didn't matter to Hickman's story. Didn't matter. And Hickman's story is what was pitched in like 2019, and that was like what they were going with. Everyone else was added on. They're not essential to the Hickman plan that was pitched. He didn't need everyone else's opinion back then. Everyone is working with him, but he is the. You know what he is? He's WWE Monday Night Raw. And then there's these 205 live matches that are happening too. You know, you can kick back and watch these 1 hours. They're a WWE. They're still X-Men. They still count. They still filmed. It's the same rings. Just the rings are purple, but it's 205 live matches happening. What an amazing analogy. Anyone who gets that, you just thumbs up this video because that was a phenomenal 205 X-Men. So the X-Men vote is over. It's 3 days later. And I got my hopes up for Armor. She was in Astonishing X-Men, which was a very popular comic book. And she was part of the team then. I feel like every other contender, we always recognize them as bench players or second, like the way Siren is the second Banshee. Blink, well, she was like on Team Gambit, but she was never in a comic book until like Generation X. That may have been her only book, and you're not going to win off of Generation X, the second Generation X, not the real one from the 90s. Yeah, she's not a contender. It's really it's Armor. It's Armor's the only one who I can possibly see win this election. So that's my pick, Armor. If you want to see me make a pick that I did last year, go watch this video. It's kind of relevant. If you don't care about the X-Men right now, you want to see some more stuff, 33 burning DC questions. That's right. I talked to DC. You want to see someone else talk? This is Philosophical Pickle talking about Captain America's body count in the movies. And this is an Attack on Titan review by Perp Minded. Peace out.